Hey friends, my name is Coach Naja. I'm the founder of VIPStepmom. And today I want to talk to you about something that I typically don't touch on, but it's super important. I want to talk about high conflict stepmoms. Yes, they are out there. As a matter of fact, the entire evil stepmom trope didn't come from anywhere. Well, it came from Walt Disney because he didn't like his dad's new wife after his mom's died, but we can share the tea another time. I got a question from one of my amazing TikTok subscribers, and I'm going to read it, and we're going to go over some responses and some scenarios here. She says, "Hey, Naja, I don't know if you'll ever see this. I see you, girl, but I want to say I love your channel. And I do have a question. Most of the posts I see are about high conflict biomoms, but in my case, I feel like I'm having issues with my children's stepmother crossing the line. How can I tell if the problems I'm having are legitimate concerns or if I'm thinking too much into things?" The fact of the matter that you are astute and aware enough to realize, like, wait a minute, am I over the line or is she actually crossing the line? Means to me that says that your ego's in check. This means you want to really try to get along with this person. And this person, the person that wrote in, she didn't give any examples of what the stepmom has done. So I'm going to come up with some off the top of my head. And I think it's really, at this point, overdone to harp on the stepmom that's forcing her stepkids to call her mother. Yes, we know she's high conflict. Yes, we know she is problematic and she's going to be problematic. That's not anybody that I would coach or anybody that I could help. So I'm going to assume that this mom is not having an issue that is there. But mom, if you are having that type of issue where the stepmother is literally impeding on your territory, yes, y'all, the biological mother has a major territory. It's her kid. And it's completely okay if she doesn't want the kid, her kid, your stepchild, your partner's child, calling you mom or mommy or anything of the sorts. I feel like in human culture, motherhood is akin to sainthood, and anybody that creeps near the pinnacle or the pedestal of that is automatically deemed a bad person. You're the mistress, you're the homewrecker, how dare you? There's a lot of very healthy moms out there, but there's a lot of unhealthy stepmoms, and it sucks when they get into a pairing with one another. Like, why can't all the bad girls just be grouped together and we throw them over there on Bad Girl Island, and the rest of us can have peace? Good stepmom, good mom, working together, we're loving the kid, boom, it's a great scenario. Unfortunately, channels like mine exist because scenarios like that are still happening every doggone day. If your children's stepmother is imposing her will and going directly against your wishes, and you've made your wishes known in a respectful or maybe even a disrespectful way, but you've made your wishes known, then this woman might be high conflict. A while back, I wrote a blog called 7 Types of Women That Should Not Become Stepmothers. And in one of those, I talk about women that suffer from personality disorders or extreme mental illnesses that are unchecked. Being a stepmother, being a step parent is going to be one of the most trying experiences that you're going to have. And your mental needs to be on point. If your mental health isn't stable, then I'm going to say that this is not the position that you really want to hold, because it takes a lot to balance all of the roles. And what this role requires of you sometimes is to step up and be in the forefront and take over and help. But it also requires a special je ne sais quoi on knowing when to step back and to step aside. Sometimes you are just going to be a stagehand, and at other times you're not going to be in the scene at all. And you have to be okay and be super flexible. But if you're a person that needs to know when things are happening, you need to know your roles. You need to know what the plans are. Girl, this ain't for you. I do not suggest you do this role. You need to be malleable, you need to be fluid, and you need to be able to really go with the flow. Also, mom, if you're noticing that the stepmom is not supporting your partner in parenting the children, then she's problematic. If she's setting up vacations during his parenting time or their parenting time, if she's making sure that he's distracted. And some women do this, y'all. Let's not get up here and act like it doesn't happen. But if she's distracting him from being an active parent, then you kind of know that she is not a partner and she is not his ally. I'll say this, and I know you guys have some feelings about that, because on my podcast, I Know I'm Crazy with Naja Hall, we had a really testy scenario where we talked about moms and stepmoms meeting up and some of the rules of engagement. Some of you agreed, some of you disagreed. I am of the opinion that if you feel safe around your stepchildren's mother, meaning she's never made any physical threats, you've never seen any acts of violence or abuse. And I'm not talking about her being pissed off at her baby daddy because he's being a bonehead. I mean, this woman is actually a troubled human being, and you have formidable proof that she's not okay. Then no, I don't want you to sit down with her. But any other time, I would love for you to honor a mother's request to sit across the table and share a cup of tea. This doesn't mean she gets to interview you or you have to play 21 questions. You don't have to give her your social and your resume. and 3 references, because a baby daddy is all the reference you need. But this is where you get to show her that not only do you respect yourself and your relationship, but you respect her place in her children's life, which is the most important woman in their life. You want this lady to be your ally because she can make your life a living hell and she can torture her child while she's doing it. So to the mom that wrote me, if this woman is unwilling, absolutely not willing to sit down with you and exchange a pleasantry, then you know something's up, especially if there's been no funny business in the past. I love a grown-up that can take accountability and apologize when needed. If this is not the type of stepmother that your children have, then you have to make sure that you and your co-parent are the shining examples of just having good manners and being a decent person. I gotta go back to one because this can get kind of tricky and I realize there's a big gray area. So on one hand, you might see it as she is disruptive to the parenting time. Like when the kids are with their dad, she's planning activities and taking him away and taking his attention, or she's not allowing you to talk to your co-parent about very important parenting things. But are these things something that can be emailed? Are you calling at appropriate hours if it's not an emergency? Have you said some inappropriate things? Or have you perhaps expressed having romantic feelings towards your ex-partner? This might deter stepmom from wanting to sit down with you because she doesn't trust you and she doesn't know what angle you're coming from. Personally, I would need to know who is bathing my kids, who's around them. Can we talk? Can I have your phone number if they're spending time with you when dad is away at work? I want a friendly rapport. Grandma always told me, do not piss the person off that is making your food or doing your hair. But number 3, don't piss the person off that's keeping your kids in your absence. So to wrap that part up, if she's not willing to meet up with you and she's interfering in ways that legitimately do not make sense, I'm not saying if she's come in and changed the game. Because sometimes a stepmom will come into a functional, dysfunctional co-parenting relationship where you guys really have loose boundaries because you've not had to answer to one another, and she'll start putting her foot down. Meaning, hey, certain things should be communicated through email. Hey, maybe you guys should get child support on paperwork, because we all know that when new partners are introduced, dynamics do change. So it's best to have everything in writing. When the romantic relationship ends, it's a business. You are in the business of raising successful children together, so get your stuff written down. Now, if the stepmother is covert with her disrespect and dislike for you, or she's mistreating the children, I don't think I have to state the obvious. I mean, she's just not a good person and you ain't the problem, she is. Also, are you able to communicate with your co-parent about your concerns with their partner? Or is their partner so controlling and oppressive and all up in the co-parenting Kool-Aid that you can't really get a word in edgewise with them to actually express your concerns? That's a problem. I don't like that. I don't encourage that. I do not support that, and I damn sure don't do that. There are some stepmoms that love discourse between co-parents. They love to just stir up crap and cause confusion. I would definitely categorize her as being high conflict. When we think about high conflict biological moms, if you take a lot of those principles, all of those principles, and apply them to what the stepmom is doing, it's the same thing. So mom, what can you do about it? If anything that I've said has resonated and you're like, damn, Naja, that does sound like my stepkid's mom. What can you do about it? If you are not in a position to have a conversation with your co-parent, I want you to, without alienating your children or targeting their father and his partner, I want you to make sure that your children realize that they are not the problem. And if there is any type of emotional manipulation or she's making disparaging remarks, the kids don't need to defend you in front of the stepmom, but they should tell you when they get home. And this is where you get to teach them. And this is where you get to be your kid's very first teacher again and again, and teach them how to deal with things like that. I was talking to Lisa Sonny. You've probably heard of her. She's an expert at getting out of relationships where there was trauma bonds with a narcissist. She's made so many good points, but sometimes the stepmom in your children's life could just be one of their father's flying monkeys. If you don't know what the term flying monkeys means, look it up. Moms, listen, you're doing so well. Your kids are gonna persevere through this because they have you. They know that you got their back. And hopefully that dad will wake up out of that pink puffy cloud that he's trapped in and realize what he subjected his children to and remove that toxic woman and relationship out of his life. But don't hold your breath, because unlike us, guys really need to be in a relationship, even if it's unhealthy for them or their children. And the article that I mentioned earlier, the 7 types of women that should not become stepmoms, is linked in the description box. If you like this video and this type of content, please follow me everywhere. I'm life coach Naja Hall, founder of VIP Stepmom, and I post new videos on stepmotherhood every Wednesday. If anything I said resonated with you, I would appreciate it if you like, share, follow, and subscribe and comment and all of those things. For more personalized help or access to my private membership-only community, y'all know why it's private, then visit VIPStepmom.com. I'll see you next Wednesday.